All right, hey everyone, this is the call number 3 for the Bitcoin UI kit in Penpot porting. Small group here. We'll see if a few more people join. And as with the last calls, we'll just do an update and just chat about how things are going. I was thinking that we could start with just looking at the Kanban board and just briefly talking about what everyone did and if we need to update or add anything. Anyone wants to go, or do you have other topics? We can also, let me grab our file with notes. I'll pull it up real quick as well.
Maybe just a quick recap of the file corruption story. We had a file corruption, and now we have the support and the focus of the Penpot team. They could fix it, and now the idea is always to make way more backups. And also one idea that popped up was to, now that the file is fixed, to split the files into shared library files and link them together. So when this happens again, I think it will in a point of time because of performance and stuff in the early stage of Penpot. I think we are better off when we are splitting the files into topics and link them together.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Everything's destroyed.
But is it possible to have inherited components so that it's going from one file to another? I haven't checked this yet, to be honest.
Good question. Me neither.
Yeah, I do think we should set up three test files. One maybe with 5 icons, another one with some components that use icons, and then a third one that imports all of them. Maybe with a screen mockup or so. And then just play with it, change some stuff in the original, see how it affects the new one. And I'm also curious about the remote instance issue, like in Figma, where after working with multiple files, you end up having components from 50 other files floating around. And that's a crazy dependency because someone might just screw around in that other file and mess up your whole designs. So in Figma, that's totally not transparent, and that's why I wrote some custom plugins to deal with that. I'm just curious, and it's a huge mess. And I'm curious if the same thing applies here. So maybe we can just test that this week.
Yeah, and I mean, I just checked, so we can publish the library, right? And it looks like then you could use this shared libraries, but still the question is if it works very well together or if we are running even more problems than right now. But we need to test this.
Let me do the testing because I'm don't have much time and digging into the progress right now, what the other guys are doing and building up the library. I can help here, maybe just doing the side projects, side kicks.
Sure.
So if you want, you can assign me, all right, Chris?
Okay, I'm just going to have this placeholder here. Yeah, can you leave a comment on this task so I can assign you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you publish it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you give me a direct link? Maybe that's easier. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, it could work smoother. It could also create more memory overhead because now Penpot needs to manage multiple files. So we'll see. I'll just have to find
Totally.
out.
There it is. All right.
Yeah, the Figma file contains around 300 screen designs. Maybe the Penpot file just needs to be kept a little lighter overall for
I commented.
performance and whatnot. Okay.
But also the team of Penpot, I think they will love the feedback if we ran into issues, and they can learn from it.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, for sure. So 2 notes on that one. I emailed the Penpot team about getting access to betas. They're discussing it internally to see what's possible, and will get back to us. And then there was a prefix change. Let's see. A prefix change here, where they said, I'd love to know what you're planning. We're working on a pet project using the APIs to showcase what's possible. And then they asked what we're looking into. So I just wrote a quick summary about the API stuff. So automated design docs. I think it's an easy one, just exposing all this stuff on a website. So for developers and anyone else. Then workflow automation. And then, I don't know, that's a bit of a stretch goal, seeing if you could do versioning with some custom work around versioning. So maybe a script downloads one version every day, and then you can just click through the different versions and see the differences, something like that. Maybe you can dynamically display the contributors and potentially this theming wizard. So let's say I want to use the kit for my own brand. I have a website where I can just click together some colors, and then I get a customized Penpot file that I can publish to my own Penpot with the presets already in there. But I mean, that's we'll just have to see what's possible, and maybe there are things possible that we can't even think of. So yeah, so that's where that conversation is. I'm curious if we can get access to their pet project. That'd be cool too. I'm curious what they've done. They also use webhooks, so that means that so my web app only pulls whenever you load the website, but with webhooks you can also get notifications. Like someone makes changes, it notifies the web app, and then it can update independently. Something we can also show, I saw that's possible, are rendering comment threads. That's accessible in the API. I have no idea if that's really helpful or not. Yeah, the trick with the API is rendering components, because you basically, for every component, you get this huge complex object with all these nested objects for the different shapes, and each of them has like 100 properties or so. And trying to render that in HTML or SVG is pretty intricate. So I don't know how. It'd be amazing if the Penpot team could open source a viewer for those objects. But we'll see. And I don't know if you've taken a look at it. It's yeah. Have you looked at the web app?
Yeah.
Total mess here.
There's stuff to fix, but nevertheless, for the first rollout, it's already working. It's already helping, but there's a lot of stuff to do, nevertheless.
Yeah, it would be, and you could do some. What I'm curious here is, let's say with the buttons, we could do more intelligent reading of the different states to group them together. So in the end, that you could do something like you have one button here instead of all of the states next to each other, and you can actually interact with it. You could customize text, maybe even switch out the icons. You could write all kinds of code around it. Just have to figure out what's the most helpful. Don't want to rebuild Penpot either. There's no point in doing that. Anyway, so it's great the Penpot team is paying attention and helping out. It's really awesome. And in the Google Doc, there's this section here for notes about problems we've run into. Okay, what else? What else is up? How are these components looking? There's one around porting icons. There's one around setting up colors and themes.
And what is cool is that we have, I think, not sure if we have all form elements right now, but we have most of them already. That's pretty good progress, I think. Yeah, still they are super stupid, right? Because we can't really modify them on the fly, and so let's say swap the icons and so on. But I think we mentioned this already. This is a bit like doing, prop components or something, right? Like fake, because it's not working as we are used to have it. But still we have everything there and prepared, and I think especially like the loader, you see it in the background, it's a bit buggy and so on. But as soon as we have the one or the other feature, then we can just put the new features in there and have it set up. I think it still makes sense to set everything up already.
Yeah, for something like the item, which is used several hundred times in the Figma one, which really lives off of the nesting. Maybe it's best to just avoid that and flatten that hierarchy. A lot of the items are also used with a meta layer of components. So it's like there's another component that just has different states that configure the item in different ways, like for displaying amounts or contacts or transactions and stuff like that. So maybe we just need to. I mean, we don't know how soon this feature will run out. There's component swapping. Maybe for now we'll just manually create a lot of different variations. Something we could do. Then we just end up with a huge amount of separate components.
I mean, the problem is, even if we are creating all of these variations and having more and more stuff, the problem is that the asset search is not really working, right? So the combination of these problems is a bit, it makes it almost unusable, I would say, because you have to scroll through a huge list, man. It's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative is that you just don't make these state variations components. You just have, it's more like screen markers. They're just examples.
Yeah.
So you have one basic component, and then you have all these examples. So you have one page where it says, like, here are 100 variations of list items. They're not components. They're just, I don't know, frames. And then you just use those.
Maybe it will help, to sync with the Penpot team to find out. I mean, we already have this maybe beta, access, but nevertheless, just find out when they plan to release this critical features. So maybe we can then build around it and just buy us more time by just do other things and focus on other things and not wasting our time with stuff that is not usable, and B will be replaced soon-ish. We don't know, of course, but nevertheless, we will have to redo it, and we will create assets before that we will throw away. So maybe there is better stuff to do and just to stretch out the time and buy us more time.
Mhm.
But also, of course, sync with the Penpot team and A, get beta access, or B, have a roadmap, something like that, where we just know how long we will have to suffer.
Yeah, that's a good point. So once we find that out, we can just make a call, and then maybe that will help us define a version 1 of this Penpot file that we can work towards, where we say, well, we'll include this and this, but we're not going to include this. And then let's say half a year down the road, roughly, we know this feature will come, and then we can do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this bounty part also has a specific goal, or to work towards.
We also will create just a roadmap based on the other roadmap. So also for us, it's important to signal the community where we are heading, and why we are not doing stuff that is just time consuming and frustration, etc. But we are waiting for the features. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I see. Yeah, thinking back about the Figma UI kit, it also started 3 years ago. So when Figma had a lot fewer features, so this is Prefix with this basic mobile screen header, which is also used quite a lot. That used to have 5 or 6 different variations, and then variants came out, and then I cut it to 2, and it was a lot of effort to update the file to remove the other ones. So
exactly. Yeah.
Some of it is just going back a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So it seems like a couple of big things architecturally is figuring out if we use shared libraries or not, and then what else? Is there a lot missing from the different components, or should we start looking into screen mockups where one person sets up, let's say, the first use, another one looks into sending screens?
Can you go outside of drafts or outside of this file and look into the neighboring files we have? So here the molecules. What is happening there? I really don't know. Someone already started a little bit. We have icons and molecules, and I think icons is empty.
Is it possible to see who works on this one?
Think no.
But I think this is stuff that we have already in the other file, right? So let me check.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a duplicate.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe we can delete them. I don't know exactly. Maybe let's double check this, but I think it's duplicated. And then we have this other file called form elements. And
I think this was more or less a playground, or someone created stuff here and just left the file. But the bar is already included in the main file.
Correct. Yes. And why do we have this materials free stuff in there? Does anybody know?
I think just as an example of what you can do, I think Christoph added it, right?
Yes, I just added that in because it's on the official Penpot libraries page, and I just wanted to see how they someone went through all this effort to set something up, just to see how it works, how it's set up.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this file is always in libraries and templates area, so maybe we clean out our drafts folder. We could include the form elements and stuff all into the playground file, and just keep one UI kit working file and playground file.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so we could create an icons file because it's a separate project anyways.
It is already created,
Okay.
but I don't know what's the
Yeah.
what's the status on the file, and but I will use this file, for example, and turn it into a shared library, and based on that, we'll do my tests.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I'd really like to see, how this work, how shared libraries work, and I also will, in something I'd like to look into is from the code side. When the website, so when you download from the API, when you get the file, there is a section in there for shared libraries. So I want to see how that's connected, because it'll probably help me understand a little bit about how updates work and these references.
Because one question that I have is, so right now, what is a bit, I think it's a bit dangerous, is that if we are using in the working file, we are using a component that we set up, and then if you're changing stuff like text and so on, then you always have this asterisk, right? And then you have the feeling that you should update the main component, but then you are changing the main component. So it's really easy to destruct something.
Yeah.
And the question is, if we are using components from a shared library, if we can update the main component from this other file where we're just using this other component, right?
Yeah.
So, and this would make, if we can't update the main component, which would be the best, I think, then we would have some safety net for the whole thing. And I think this would be nice. But yeah, Eddie, I think it's your, this is your task then to check this out.
I'm good in destroying things, so I will.
Very good.
I will try to.
Good luck.
Yeah, and something practical also is, let's say I want to take the UI kit and change everything for my own brand. If I copy the main UI kit file, how do I also duplicate the shared library? And how do I link that new shared library with my customizations to my own copy of the UI kit? And if I have the icons as well, that means I need to copy 3 files and then somehow update all the links across them.
Yeah, because I think the examples that we have right now in Penpot, this is the Material 3, what you copied, and the Penpot Design System, but they are just one file, right, for the whole thing. So not really sure if this is possible. But yeah, we need to test it.
So that's just a sec. That's where the API could be pretty helpful. So the website could download all these files, create new versions of them, and then also update the internal links in there, potentially, and then push that up to my own Penpot.
That would
Theoretically.
be awesome, of course.
Yeah. Okay, that's all shared library stuff. Any other questions around shared libraries?
Yeah, questions a lot, but I think we can't answer them yet. One thing, but it's another topic. And I'm not sure if you talked about this before I joined, is that I don't have any overview how much we are, or in which state we are in the progress. So I see that we have a lot of components already and so on, but I don't have a clue how, percent how far are we in the process. And I think this would be very interesting to track, so that we know, like, do we have
go into the project? Hello.
I don't know what happened there. I think I accidentally pressed something.
Hopefully the old recording isn't gone.
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah, I think they actually look like they fixed that. It is there. I can stitch the two together.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, that's a good point. To have a better understanding where we are right now in the percentage-wise, because it's exactly what I'm struggling daily when I'm trying to, dive into something and get my head around this project and see the overview, and not doing the work twice or something like that. It's a little bit tricky. Good point.
Yeah. Well, that was, we have a bunch of to-dos. Initially in a project, it's easy. Everyone just goes wild and adds their own to-dos and ideally tracks them. So it would be good to keep, like here it says set up lists. And it would be good to, if someone can just, as they work, leave comments in there.
Yeah. But most of the people aren't using them right now, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's just us three.
I think I can ask people in these calls are pretty good also to go over things and quickly leave some notes. And I can also ask or reach out to people in Discord and ask them to update things as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, no one likes doing that. It's fun to do the work, but documenting the work is never.
Yeah, maybe that would be also something I can do. Let me think about it to get an overview.
Yeah, and maybe I can take a look at the Figma file, and as far as our goal, maybe we can pick, I don't know, 5 user flows or so. And our first goal for the version 1 file is that we have those screens all mocked up. So let's say someone does want to copy it to design their own wallet. They have not everything, not all the 50 settings pages. It's maybe unnecessary, but they have some of those pages. Or we don't have 300, but maybe we have 20, 30, 50. I don't know how quickly it's going to go, how many issues we run into along the way. So I can pick out some stuff. The series of screens.
The Figma file right now that is available that I can copy to my own space, it's up to date ish, or where are we there?
Sorry,
And is it synced to the page?
The community file, the Figma community file. I think I republished that last week.
Okay.
So should not be last published August 2. Yeah. So that's
Okay, so
it's pretty up to date.
it's up to date. All right, nice.
Yeah, and I can go into. I can also. Well, I'm supposed to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so I can do things, but I'd rather not. But I can check in a little bit, and I'll just try to loosely keep up with tasks. But I probably won't be hands-on the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's vacation, so
I really need to take a break. It's been
pretty
intense year so far.
Well deserved.
Thanks. But yeah, I think as we get further into the project, for all the other contributors who don't spend as much time, it is helpful if the tasks are really clear, the progress is clear. Okay, so let's make that happen.
Cool.
Something else with shared libraries. I'm wondering if shared libraries work in teams, right? So
No, I think you can do it also on your own space. I don't know you can turn every file or wait a second.
Let's say I change
Yes.
my current team in Penpot. I have different libraries. The libraries change.
So, I mean, if you check out the Penpot page about shared libraries, it says how to contribute and so on. So, and then you have, by sharing your template with the community, you help others benefit from your designs. And then it's contribute via GitHub or contribute via email. So it seems like that if you want to publish them to the world, then there's some manual work with, I don't know, the people of Penpot needs to enable them or publish them openly or something like this.
Yeah. But so that's basically just uploading a file to GitHub.
But then it's open for everyone, or are there gatekeepers, which would be fine, but
yeah, I mean you could create a pull request here. Here someone said,
okay.
Just another resume template library. And then they're waiting for this to be merged. This was from May 9, so a few months ago already. But that doesn't really resolve any collaboration issues. That's just for putting the file on the website. Yeah, I'm just curious if, let's say, I add the UI kit, I create a team, or even, I don't know, what is drafts even? Is drafts a team? No, I'm always in a team. No, I have
No.
I have your Penpot
You have
too.
your own space.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in my
there
own
you
space,
have your draft.
Yeah.
And what is the difference between drafts and projects is something to figure out, because at one point,
Yeah, I'm just curious how the shared library stuff works across projects. If if I have the UI kit in the design community, can I use it in a project in my own space, or do I also have to copy it over there? Will I end up with lots of duplicates of the shared libraries? Just the practical day-to-day stuff around working with them. Yeah, I think that makes. So far, we've just looked at setting up, working with Penpot itself and setting up those components, and then we'll get more into the workflow things as we start building out screens and testing out the shared libraries.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, nothing too crazy. I think that's stuff we know. And then, will you be ready to start using Penpot for your next project? Penpot Design Systems course coming up.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, but I think it really makes sense to wait for the one or the other feature, right? So at least swap icons and swap components. I think this is absolutely necessary so that people can really use them in their projects, so that you can really like sell Penpot as a tool to set up your next design system or your design library. But yeah, I think there are not too many tutorials out there for Penpot, and yeah, was thinking about this because I think it's really worth to talk more about Penpot, because I think it would be, or it will be a very cool tool for the open source community. So we can't do enough advertising for this.
Yeah. Early adopters stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I do have in YouTube. I have from 2-3 years ago. I have a how to use Figma video workshop, because earlier in the community, a lot of people didn't know how to use Figma, which seems kind of it's established itself so much that seems kind of hard to imagine now. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else while we're on here? Should we just? What else do you want to do? Is it good to look at the to-dos, look at the progress, set up some more tasks, or directly hop into the file and mess around with something?
Yeah, as we said, like the to-dos is a bit hard to track, I think, right?
Mm.
I think for the next time it would be cool if we have some updated board with all the to-dos and so on. Then it would be very interesting. But for now, it's hard to see.
What would you like on there? What would you like to see?
I mean, in the end, I would like to have maybe a list or a board of all the components that we need to build, right? So that we have some track of the amount of components and so on, so that we know, like, we did already 50% or something, or are we at 20? I don't know. I don't have a clue. Maybe you can estimate this a bit better because you know your iKit very good. But for now, I don't have a clue at all.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. So in here, for example, it's possible to say create a task list. And let's say this is, you can just say number 31. So then it pulls in, if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this in my background here.
Yeah.
But you can create these to-do lists, which is very similar to a milestone. So I don't know if it really helps a lot. Because we do have this milestone here. Maybe you just use that. I can create index of all components, and then we can tick off the ones. I can go through and tick off the ones that are done.
Yeah, I could imagine that this would help so that others would use GitHub a bit more to progress, to track the progress, because I think people, don't want to set the tickets up for themselves maybe, but they would use them. And I think this would help a lot so that we know who's working on what and so on.
Maybe also we should use the deep linking into the Figma file. So go through, make a list of, for example, tokens, colors, etc., everything that is even already done, and then deep link it into the Figma file on one hand, and also, I don't know even if Penpot can deep link already, and if not, see having on the left side a huge list of also split it into tokens, atoms, molecules, etc., already grouped from the Figma file, linked it together, and then match it with the Penpot progress, and also calculate how many items we have overall, and then can calculate maybe a percentage or something like that. Or split it into milestones. I can help you, Christoph. So this is something we can do in the background and do just project management, more or less.
Yeah. The milestones have a percentage complete at the top.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the typical project managers, not just tracking all this stuff, but also talking about it, keeping the whole team informed how things are going, and pointing out open tasks that need to be picked up, ticking things off, pushing a little bit sometimes when things are close to the finish line, and just needs a little bit more effort, that type of stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, even for later, right? If a new feature is coming up or is there already in Penpot, then we could use all these tickets for the specific components and mark them as, update them with the new features. And I think this would make the progress for later way easier as well.
And keeping track of everything and overview.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's super annoying, but I think it's necessary, especially if we are working with an open team, right? So a lot of people are involved, and so then we don't lose track completely. It's hard enough with a fixed team of 3 or 4 people, but if we are having an open team, it's even more difficult, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say to not be too careful. If you feel like you want to do something, just go ahead and do it. Maybe there's sometimes a little bit of overlap or something small breaks a little bit, but we're still early in this whole thing, I think.
Yeah.
And hopefully maybe someday we're going to have branching and merging and all of this where there's a
That
little
would
bit
be
of control of what
Yeah.
makes it in. Yeah, I'm still wondering if the original file should actually live in GitHub at some point and not in Penpot for specifically that reason. That I don't know yet what the best approach is.
I will also look into that, and because I would love to have a nice bridge with GitHub and Figma and Penpot, and then we maybe can disconnect Figma in the future somewhere with the links and have everything already in Penpot, and then continue just with the two of those.
Yeah.
Or now you couldn't upload this on GitHub and work on this right away, right? It's just that you upload the latest master file. So for the libraries, for the open libraries in Penpot, for example, right? You just upload that or paused master files and then update them from time to time. But if you want to work on this on the fly, would that work? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, I don't exactly know. So Penpot has two file formats. One is the .penpot, which is binary, which is more compressed, but you can't really see what's going on. Then you can download it as SVG and HTML, which is a nice folder structure. You can click through all the files or the SVGs in there and preview them. Everything's JSON, easy to read. And if you put that on GitHub, then you can potentially just update one SVG at a time with a pull request. So that makes it easy to manage. But I don't know if you can actually re-upload that again. And if I so every object has its own unique ID, like some super long random string. So if, let's say, I download the Penpot file, I make some change, I re-upload it again, does it create a new one? Or does it really overwrite the existing one and everywhere where it's used in other files along the way? That's stuff that
sounds complicated.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same in Figma. It's just all hidden, and that's where you run into these problems because it is all hidden.
Or would it make a difference if you self-host Penpot? Because we have the option to self-host, right? Maybe you have more options to do stuff like this to connect it with GitHub or something. Or if the files are uploaded on the own servers, maybe you have more options. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not the best option because we want to have this in public, right? But still, I'm wondering if this would solve some issues like this because you have more control of your own service and stuff like this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just general design system backend stuff that gets really intricate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a conversation to have with the Penpot team as well. Maybe I'm sure they have thought about some of this logic when coming up with these file formats and everything. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. No clear answers there. Maybe there never will be clear answers. We'll see.
Still early. Same with Bitcoin.
Always early.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're almost at the hour, so I think we have a couple
need a
things.
closing phrase. Zach says, make backups of Penpot files. Run your own node.
But I'm pretty impressed with how far this Figma Penpot file already is.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
People really just went at it, this group, and made a lot of stuff happen.
Yeah.
And now, of course, the next steps are a little bit trickier because it's more about the details and some workflows and using them, which is less easy to just jump in and do stuff. But another step in this process.
Great foundation, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm always impressed if I don't know, I'm off for one day and then I check the change log and it's really stacked up. It's really nice. So a lot of stuff is happening.
The top is the newest.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's keep at it.
Definitely.
So I'll stop the recording. Thanks for all who watched. Thanks for everyone who helps out with this. See you in Discord.